we do the same thing. All right, you ready?
I'm ready.
All right, we're recording. All right, people, this is podcast 62, and I have a special guest. We've been waiting on this forever. I'm not sure how it's going to go, but I am with the two-time defending state champion, Arrowhead High School, Jack Watermolen. Jack, say hi to the people.
Hello, people.
Good job, Jack. So I'm going to start with a high school question, and I'll do some introductions later.
Okay.
So if you're listening to this and you know me, Jack works at the WAC with me, coaches high school, and we've had this on the schedule for a while. So he just won his second state championship with the girls at Arrowhead. Are you undefeated? Have you ever lost the state championship? Are you 2 for 2?
My first year at Arrowhead, we didn't even go to team state.
Really?
This is my third year at Arrowhead.
But it's your second as a head coach?
First as a head coach. I was an
Nice.
assistant coach first 2 years.
All right. Well, here's my first question to sort of kick off how we do this. I coached high school at New Berlin West for 5 seasons. It was awesome. I loved it. Terrible team. By the year 5, we really good. We ended up having the number 1 seed at D2 for state at the time. In all those matches I coached in 5 years, I believe that I personally maybe had an effect on the outcome, turned a loss to a win, and maybe 3 to 5, 6 matches. And I've coached a lot, but I don't think I had that much impact on the result of matches. I sort of believe that the practice is most important, and once you roll the balls out, they are who they are. How many times in 2 state championship seasons do you think you walked on the court and turned a match from a loss to a victory? Like some girls going to lose, and your coaching changed it. I'm just curious. This isn't me making fun of you because I'm going to.
But I don't, not that many. I would probably agree with you as well. I think my coaching, especially I kind of see it as I have more of an effect on the doubles teams than I do the singles players, especially at Arrowhead. These girls play 12 months out of the year, all since they were 6. But a lot of them haven't played doubles or seen doubles play. Nothing like.
Is there one match that sticks in your head? Like they won that because of my coaching, my advice, my feedback. They were going to lose if I hadn't have talked to them. I can't really think of many in my career.
Maybe like 1 or 2 that came down really tight. And it's usually like 3 or 4 singles because like the upper lineup, the 1-2 singles, they either win big or they lose bad.
Yeah.
I definitely have changed like matches going into 3 sets or like girls have won 6-2, 6-3 instead of 7-5, 7-5. But I don't know if I've completely come back when one does stick out in my mind at Kettle Moraine when I was with boys. My one singles was playing, I forgot who it was, West Osha Central, and it was a good match. And the kid had a full Western forehand, and I told him just slice and moonball to his forehand side after he lost the first set, and he came back and won it in a breaker, cool. Which was cool. But realistically, on court, I'm more of a cheerleader than anything.
Right. It's mostly keeping them from melting down.
Correct.
Girls or boys.
Correct.
Like anger, tears, staying in the match, all that kind of stuff. I think that's big. And who knows? That may be the wrong question because those things do influence a match. You just might not see it from a strategy standpoint.
It's never like that Disney. I'm down. I lost first set 0-6.
Didn't we talk about this yesterday?
Yeah.
Making a Disney movie?
Yeah, making a Disney movie.
We should make one.
We should.
I'm going to call tennis. Walt Disney.
Yeah?
Yeah.
And
I'm going to call his family member. I don't think he's around.
No. Bob Iger is the CEO.
There's never been a Disney tennis movie.
There hasn't. Oh, I guess not a Disney.
That's something like that. Has there?
I don't think tennis.
I can't recall. Tennis movies are all so stupid.
They're all bad.
But they're fun to watch because they're so bad.
Have you seen 7 Days in Hell? It's Kit Harington, who's on Game of Thrones, and Andy
Yes,
Samberg.
yes, I have.
That is the most realistic and best tennis depiction of all time.
There's some good ones that I've watched that are they're so freaking bad. All right, on the opposite of that, have you ever changed the win to a loss? Like you overcoached, you overdid it, you thought you were doing something amazing, and they tried it and just bombed.
I think I not a win to a loss, but I have overcoached a lot, and I'll walk off court and I'll be like, oh, I didn't need to tell her to drive that slice to low to somebody's backhand and approach off of it more, because that's not what she's thinking about right now, especially when I first started. Like you watch these matches, and a lot of times I'm walking around, so I'll see like 3 points. I'm going from 3 doubles all the way up to 1 singles, and I'm walking around. I'll watch 4 points, and they could be the worst 4 points of the match. And then I come out with all these ideas, and sometimes you just have to say less to coach more.
I agree. I used to work briefly with a former coach of a school that you compete against that we've discussed before. And this coach used to run out on the court. I watched him one day. I've talked about it in the podcast previously. I watched this coach coaching girls, goes out on the court, third set of a changeover, and he's trying to teach one of his players how to hit topspin. I'm not joking. He grabs her racket, he's changing her grip, he's got a ball, and he's brushing over it. He's all like sweaty and fired up.
Yeah.
Teaching this girl, this was at like subs or sectionals at higher.
Yeah.
And he runs out. He's giving a topspin lesson in the middle of the third set.
Yeah.
One of the bigger days of the year, right?
Yeah.
The biggest probably.
Right.
And I'm like, what the hell are you doing?
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. And I just sort of believe in the high school world, it's managing emotions.
Yeah.
How they're working with their partner, communications, all those kind of things, far more than X's and O's and strategies and all that kind of stuff. Doubles, I think you're right. I think we can have far more effect in doubles because there's a team element. We can manage that.
Right.
All right, cool. See, that wasn't so bad for your first question. Now we're going to do some rapid fire.
Okay.
You ready?
Yes.
Because these are things I've talked about in previous podcasts.
Okay.
Have you ever worn the same thing to work, to the WAC to teach back-to-back days? Same outfit, like on a Monday, and you wear it again on a Tuesday to the WAC.
Not like the full outfit, but I'm wearing the sweatshirt. I only work 3 hours today. I'll probably wear it again tomorrow.
That's why I asked, because I'm wearing the exact same thing I wore yesterday. Because yesterday my day was pretty easy. I didn't hit a ball. It was all groups.
Yeah.
I'd never played, never run. So I got home. I'm like, I didn't sweat it all. I just put it all on hanger and I wore it again. And then I was questioning, is that...
What do you mean by you wore it all again?
Not all.
Okay.
There's one piece that I did change. Because it was rotten.
Your socks. Your socks.
I did do socks.
Okay, good.
I got a long sleeve shirt and my black WAC over in the shorts, all the same.
Yeah.
And then I got here, I'm like, is that weird? Do other people do it?
I've done it before, especially with the long sleeves. If I wear a long sleeve and I don't hit in a lesson, I'll wear it again the next day.
So let me know if I have a stench coming across the table.
Well, more than normal.
All right, top Christmas movies. I'm putting you on the spot. Mine, Elf number one.
Number one. My mom really likes It's a Wonderful Life.
Yeah.
I do not. The original reason why It's a Wonderful Life got popular.
Why?
It's a fun fact.
I like these facts.
Because they're brought the studio's broadcasting rights ran out and it was originally a flop at the box office. So they didn't renew their broadcasting rights or whatever it's called for the movie. So every TV channel played it constantly because it was free to play over Christmas. And people just grew up watching it because it was always on TV. So I argue that it's actually not a good movie because they didn't renew their rights. And people just like it for the nostalgia factor because it was on TV all the time.
I had no idea.
Yeah.
That's why you're on this, Jack, to give me useless information.
That was my law professor, story from my law professor my senior year of college, so it could be fake, but that one stuck with me.
If you can say it, it's true.
Right. Correct. Yeah.
I've got Christmas Vacation, number one.
Yeah. Okay.
Always, forever. Nothing will pass it.
Mm-hmm.
Fred Claus, Vince Vaughn, and Paul Giamatti were their brothers, and he goes back. And I don't know why it's my second favorite.
Yeah.
And then I've got Elf 3, Polar Express.
Okay.
And then any number 5 for me was any of the Santa Claus movies with Tim Allen. There's like 17 of them.
Yeah.
I just if they're on, I can't stop watching them. I have to see how it ends, even though I know how it ends.
Yeah.
But those were mine. All right, next one. Crocs in public. This is a big one to ask everybody. How do you feel about wearing Crocs or sweatpants in public? You're going out. You're going out to dinner. You're going to Panera. Are you in Crocs and sweatpants?
Sweatpants, yes. Crocs, no.
No Crocs. Do you own Crocs?
I do not own Crocs. I'm more of a Birkenstock guy.
All right. I own Crocs. I don't wear them in public, except I've worn them to Quick Trip.
Sure.
That's the only place I've gone. I feel like it's acceptable there.
Yeah.
But I'm not a sweatpants in public, dude. I feel like, I don't know. It's giving up.
It depends. I've heard you talk about this before.
Right?
Yeah. It depends on what you mean by sweatpants for me. I won't go out in like baggy old sweatpants.
But if stains on them.
And with a hole in it and stuff. But if you're talking about like joggers or like warm up.
So joggers are different than sweats.
They definitely are.
See, I don't own a pair of those. I wear shorts today. It was below zero and I wear shorts.
I also, yes, but you should.
Joggers.
If your kids are listening to this, they should get you a pair of like.
I
talked like Lulu or Fabletics joggers. I used to talk so much trash about Lululemon, and I got a pair of joggers. Do you? And
you love them.
I love them.
They're so expensive.
They're ridiculously expensive, but I've had them for like 2 or 3 years.
Yeah,
and it's awesome.
All right, I don't know.
Yeah.
All right, next one. First concert you ever went to?
It was REO Speedwagon.
No way.
At the Waukesha County Fair.
Dude, that's awesome.
Yeah.
How old were you? Do you remember?
I think like 13 or 14. And then, I used to show pigs for 4-H. So I'd spend the entire week at the fair, and they always had like the most ridiculous, like musical guests that would come and perform at the fair.
Were they with like Styx and Journey and Boston?
It wouldn't ever be like as good as Styx or Journey, but it was like 1 year it was CCR, which was really Ted cool. Nugent came to town.
So do you like that kind of music in general? Because you started, that was your first one?
Yeah, I'm a big like 80s hair metal type of.
Dude, this is why we get along.
Yeah. So like Styx, Journey, REO Speedwagon.
What CCR. About like Poison? Bon Jovi,
like
that world.
Yeah, I like delve into it a little bit, but then like the
mine.
Metallicas of the
So I talked about it. My first one was Metallica. I was 18
awesome.
in Evansville. Went to Metallica, and they're still going, dude.
Yeah,
they're freaking amazing.
And their tickets are like $500.
Yeah,
I was looking to like go see them. I think they came to Milwaukee.
They're amazing still.
Yeah,
I know there's Lars, the drummer's 60 now. I think they're both, him and James Hetfield, the lead singer guitarist, they're both 60 years old.
Yeah,
they met when they were 18. They're still doing it, and they've never had fights. They just get along, which is crazy.
Which I wouldn't.
Everybody breaks up,
but especially like, on the end of a road trip, you're like, thank God that this was only 9 days. But then you tour the country for like 5.5 years together.
I know.
And you're like,
it is really interesting that they are able to do that.
Yeah.
All right. Tell me something that would make professional tennis better. We may have talked about this.
Yeah.
I think they should just let the coaches on the court because we're wasting time watching them jaw in the corners in between points. So they're already talking. Just let them sit on the bench.
Yeah.
And I'd like to get translators. Someone, because you hear like Djokovic screaming at his box in a language I don't speak.
Right.
I'd love to have somebody on site to translate what they said. Those are my two. Is there anything that you would to watch? You're watching U.S. Open on TV. What makes it better?
I have so many thoughts about this because professional tennis as a whole has done a horrible job of like keeping up with the rest of the sporting world.
I agree.
Get rid of lets. That's my biggest. People hate it when I bring that up, but no lets. Play every let.
So college style.
Yes, but then in doubles, I know in some tournaments with no lets, either player can play the let.
returner's partner could slide over and get it.
Yeah,
I could get down with that.
So at least professional doubles, just play lets. I hate pausing, and then like more music, get the crowd more into it. I know people are also
in between changeovers or during play.
During points. I want beach balls. I want.
I'm not necessarily against it
because, like, can you imagine if LeBron James went up to the free throw line and they shut the music off and no one can cheer? So you're telling me that these professional athletes can't make a serve with the crowd just harassing them?
Yeah, I agree. Do you think there's something, though, with hearing the sound of the ball coming off the opponent's racket tells you a lot of info about what's coming?
Yeah.
Like you and I,
yes,
those players, they can hear it, and they know that's got a certain amount of spin or pace or something. Does that, if the crowd's loud, you can't hear that, does the level of play drop? And now we don't want to watch them?
Then we'll try it out at least. I hate it's a gentleman's sport. You shouldn't quiet please play.
Yeah. I sort of agree. I think more people would watch, but also if you're watching on TV, are we going to hear all the music during the points? Because we like the sound of that ball being hit too.
That is true. You'd give up like the sound of points, which is it is like a satisfying sound.
Do you mic the ball?
I think you mic the court, just like NFL does. NFL doesn't like mic the stadium. You can't hear.
Right, but NFL, baseball, when the play is going, they're not playing music. If you watch NFL,
that is true.
Right before they get to the line, they shut the music off.
Yeah. Okay, so no music during points, but I say just let the crowd.
They could crank it up until they walk up to the line and start their routine, and then they lower it.
But then let the crowd just get rowdy during points.
I like it.
Because at least for like one tournament. It doesn't have to, because Wimbledon will never do it. It's like,
we need a tournament like the one in Arizona, the golf tournament.
Yeah.
Where they built the stadium and they're all screaming.
Yeah.
Something like that for tennis.
Where like turn Indian Wells into a drinking game. Like just
I like it. I think this is gonna go I think it's gonna go to the top.
Yeah.
Could we talk to Walt Disney about it?
Yeah.
Does he have
Walt and Bob will get right on it.
All right. Should people say sorry when they hit a let cord and win the point? Not off the serve, but you and I are playing. I hit a forehand, hits the net, goes over, I win. Do I need to apologize? Because I don't think so. It's part of the game.
That's it. No, I want to say no. I'm a big fan of college tennis and the drama and I'm obviously as a coach, I'm never going to tell people like, oh, don't apologize or start hooking somebody, but or like cheat like that. But I love watching college tennis because the cheating is so bad and the drama is there.
There's other sports where lucky things happen and they don't apologize. If a guy banks in a 3-pointer in the NBA, he's not going around to apologize.
Yeah, full court shot and it off the rim and
broken bat.
Right.
Single that rolls about 10 feet and he makes it the first on it. No one else apologizes. I
think overall for the sport, let me put it this way. I'd want my players to be respectful, be nice.
Because they're not really sorry.
Yeah, no one's sorry.
No, I'm not.
No one's really sorry. But
I think it should be fist pump in their face. Because I'm so good, so accurate. I was able to hit that ball into the net on purpose, and I still kicked your butt.
I've told my girls before, if you hit the hand up sorry, and then go right into you're too little. So just put so sorry into too small.
Thought you were going to go to put a certain finger up in the air.
No, I wouldn't do that.
That'd be some quality coaching. All right. Almost done. Then we're going to get to your life.
Okay.
Drills versus lessons. Is there a difference in your mind?
Yes, absolutely.
What are the difference? You're doing a drill or you're doing a lesson.
Yeah.
What's the difference for you?
So drills, in my mind, I immediately go to like a lot more point play, and I'm like teaching more the strategy than I am strokes. And lessons. If somebody's like, oh, are we saying like I'm in my mind. I think drills multiple people. I'm playing more points. It's more point play based. I'm keeping the game like it kind of game centered, but the games are focused on something that a point
Yeah.
that I'm trying to make. And then lessons, I'm like breaking down your technique and coaching more technique, maybe some like match play focused stuff, but mostly technique based.
All right, that makes sense.
But
I struggle with that because we've talked about it. I want to teach.
yeah,
Like I'm far enough along in my career that I don't want to be just a ball feeder, and we've talked about it.
yeah,
And I'll try to bring this up without naming people, but we do something in the summer called Ladies' Day.
yes,
Use all the courts, 30 some people, and some of the group is there just for exercise. Some is group there just to see their friends. Some are there because they don't have anything else to do, and there's a few that are there because they want to get better.
right,
And I tend to gravitate toward those. And we changed Ladies' Day a bit this year. We made it instructional.
yeah,
I know you didn't do a ton of them, but we made it instructional.
yeah,
A portion of it every time. There was
Yep.
some lesson based to it, and that's sort of what I like to do. So I
Yeah.
try to mix the. Honestly, Jack, you know this. We're just freaking entertainers.
yeah,
All right, we're there, paid to put on a show, watch the guys dance. And,
yeah,
right. That's it. They want to leave having an enjoyable time, get some exercise, and come back next
Right.
time. But I'm trying to always add an element of teaching
yeah,
and coaching to it. But I understand your point. I think
Yeah.
that's a good answer. You
It
actually
always-
sounded educated.
Thank you. I try to sometimes, but I always like struggle with people who are like, well, I just want to play as many points as possible, and because I come from a background of like, why would you pay for that then?
Me too.
Well, like just go out on court and play points.
Find somebody to hit
yeah,
with the ball machine.
Yeah, exactly. And they're
Yeah.
like, oh, well, I want to play as many points as possible. You feed the balls. That's your job. I don't want to serve. That I
know
like.
what serve. That's on my list later.
Okay, all right,
Serving.
good. We'll get to it. Because I have thoughts about.
Yeah, I
that
had
too.
one recently. I talked about it that the player was honest with me, looked me in the eye. I'm just here for the entertainment. Didn't want anything, and it actually helped me because I didn't have the stress of trying to battle with this player.
Yeah,
I just like, oh, that's cool, and I put my coaching to the other three,
yeah,
and just had fun with this one, and it worked
Right.
out because she was honest with me.
yeah,
It wasn't this like me trying to figure out why isn't this person listening to me. She just told me I'm just here for fun,
yeah,
entertainment. I'm like, cool.
Yeah.
I think I'd rather them tell me what's your purpose here.
right,
But if their purpose is we just want you to feed us a bunch of balls and shut up,
right,
then I'm walking.
Right.
I can't do it. I had a group here that sort of did that to me when I
Yeah.
first started, and I have not taken that group again.
yeah. I think it's
Um,
important to find the right coach.
All right,
Two.
next one. You have two left. Coaches versus pros. What term do you prefer?
I prefer coach, but
So do I.
I'm more of a coach, like in the classical
Yeah.
sense.
I've talked about it a bunch, and with a lot of people, it still bothers me. Even here, like the front desk staff, most people here call us pros.
Yeah.
And in my head, it's sort of cringy to me because
Yeah.
I'm thinking I'm not. I don't want anybody to think I believe I'm a tennis pro.
Right,
Tennis pros are on tour making millions and
Right.
have far more talent than I'll ever have.
right,
So I really try to use, even here as I've gotten to know the coaching staff here
Yeah.
and taking a bigger role, I always use the term coaches. Like
Yeah.
it's hey coaches, because I just don't think it's the right.
Have you?
Unless you're going to say teaching professional,
Right,
which
right.
you're not going to say.
Have you? So I made when I first started working here full time. I forgot who asked me, but they're like, "What do you do for a job?" And I made the mistake of introducing myself as I'm a tennis pro.
Tennis pro. Oh,
Tennis pro, and they're like, they like look me up and down, and they're like, really, the 5'10", this kid, like he's a tennis pro, and they like I had to then explain, and then from that moment on, I'm just like I teach tennis. Sometimes I
Yeah.
won't even do coach. I'll just say I teach tennis.
I know. It's like I've run marathons and half marathons, and my kids when they were younger always asked me, like I'd go off and run a race. Did you win?
Yeah.
No. Well, why not? Why didn't you win? Were
Yeah.
you close to winning? Nope. I was
No.
like 18,000.
Right.
Like, well, you're not very good.
Yeah.
Like they don't understand. There's different.
Right.
And so as they've gotten older, I've tried to explain. There's a group of people in the beginning, about 20 people who one of them is going to win, and all the rest is just doing it for fun. You're running for fun,
right? Why would you?
So I'll go this year in April and run it again, and my kids will ask me if I won.
Yeah.
All right, last one. Okay. Errors. I believe the significant portion of mistakes on a court and the results are more important is the timing of the errors, not the total number. Because people get my players get caught up in how many times they screw up.
Yeah.
And I try to tell them, listen, I don't care how many times. I care that you don't screw up at 3-4 add out in the third set. Yeah. You can screw up 50 times as long as none of them are in big moments.
Yeah.
So I've been teaching that your errors, you got to judge yourself in the timing of them, not just the number. Obviously, you're not going to win a match if you make a billion.
Right.
But if you make 20 unforced errors in 2 sets, and none of them are at out, you're good. Right? Yeah. If you step up, what do you think about that? You think that's way off?
I think nobody's going to drastically change in a big moment. They're probably going to get worse. It's just
except for Michael Jordan, the GOAT, greatest ever.
Yeah,
LeBron sucks.
I mean, that has something to it where, like, if you're like just a straight up competitor and you have that dog, as Tim and I will talk about, like you step up at big moments. But I think it's more important how you're making your errors and at what time. So I agree with you. Like, sometimes if it's not at a big moment, it's fine. But if you're 7 feet back from the baseline and you're hitting balls into the bottom of the net, or if you're 7 feet back from the baseline and you're ripping them to the moon and they're 8 feet long, I think it's more important how you're making those errors, because that shows something about your decision making. So, like, if you're making poor decisions, which is resulting in errors, I'm fine with errors. But if you're making dumb mistakes, mental mistakes, which is resulting in errors, then you have to address that. Like, was I trying to rip a winner from 8 feet behind the baseline? And that's why.
I just feel like too many club players, high school players, they judge themselves solely on how many times they screwed up. And I think there should be another category. How many times did you screw up when you couldn't afford to screw up?
Yeah.
So if we're playing a match and you dump first point of the match, you bomb a forehand over the fence.
Yeah.
Who cares, right?
Yeah.
But if it's third set, 4-4, add out, and you bomb the same one, now you got a problem, right? It's the timing, because nobody cares about that first one.
Yeah, but why is it 4-4? Is it because you made 40 errors on your way there?
Well, if you and I were playing, it would only be 4-4 because I hung around and let you win.
Right. Yeah.
So you wouldn't feel bad about yourself.
Right.
Because I would have been up 6-0, 5-0, 40 love, and then I would have
with your serve and volley.
It would have been high kick serve to your backhand. You'd hit it short. I'd come in and smoke a forehand.
Right.
That's it. And then you'd cry.
I'd probably cry. You're right. I'm emotional.
All right. Are you ready for the important parts?
Yes.
Because that was just like that was the appetizer.
Okay.
It's just Thanksgiving. You just had stuffing and potatoes and crab legs.
I heard you had
my
family had crab legs.
So again, people, if there's anybody listening to this, I know my mom's listening, so she'll like you.
Yeah.
I sort of asked because I had Tim on here.
Yeah.
Shannon. I've had multiple people. Without going the next several hours.
Yeah.
I'm curious because I don't even know this stuff really.
Yeah.
How did you get here? You're a coach at the WAC. You're a high school state champion coach. Yeah. Where did this? What path were you on that ended up like? I got Tim's story. He's got a cool story about how he ended up in this business. He wasn't built for this. How did you end up in this kids club at the WAC doing a podcast with me?
That's a great question. I'm kind of like, I think Tim mentioned this, like most of us who are doing this full time, this wasn't our original goal.
Right.
To like it very rarely does it seem like somebody graduates college and they're like, I'm going to go teach tennis as my full-time job now. I originally went to college for civil and environmental engineering for my first year, failed Calc 2. And I said, maybe engineering isn't for me. And So changed my major to legal studies. Was super set on law school. Like took the LSAT, was applying to law schools, um, or looking at applying to law schools, and talked as the more I talked to lawyers, the more I realized this might not be for me. When they're like, "Oh, you'll work 80 hours a week in an office, and you'll be shackled by debt," and
knowing you, I can see you doing it from a good with words, great telling a story, know how to talk to people.
Yeah,
but I can't see you trapped in an office.
Yeah, that was a big thing. So then I went through. I've had a lot of jobs. I worked for the state. I was a page in a state representative's office for a little bit. That was horrible.
Dang.
I was a bouncer in college when I was a little bit bigger.
This is why I asked.
Yeah, I was a bouncer at a bar, Red Rock. It's a trashy country bar. It's horrible.
That is so cool.
Yeah, that was. And then because I was kind of thinking law enforcement, and then for some reason, I don't know, I watched Roadhouse, and I was like, this would be awesome, but it wasn't like Roadhouse at all. It was, but I stuck around at that job for a while, and then I ended up getting my EMT, my EMT-A. So
what is the A?
There's EMT Basic, so EMT B, and that's you're like you basically lift the cot that the people are in, and that's all you do. And you might pump on somebody's chest, and that's about it. It's BLS, basic life saving, and people call it basically lifting shit all the time. So and then I got my advanced, so I can start like a pick line. I get like an IV.
Could you give me an IV right now?
Yeah.
You still remember that stuff?
Oh yeah.
Could you do it? Do you have your IV stuff?
No, I do not. Because I can draw your blood after this stuff.
All right, let's do it.
I have my stuff.
That'd be great content.
Yeah,
that's what podcasters
there you go.
say.
Yeah. And then I moved out to Wyoming and worked in Yellowstone National Park for
I didn't know that.
8 months. I worked for kind of my main job there was through a hotel service in the park called Xanterra, where I was like security for them. But then I volunteered as an EMT for the National Park Service. So,
dang, did you ever see a buffalo?
Yes.
Or a moose?
Yes.
Or did you see a goat?
A mountain goat, or like a domestic goat. Somebody's.
Did you ever see a house cat?
Yeah, I've seen a house cat before.
Wonder.
Everybody's always like, "Oh, the animals," but like, "Oh, did you ever see a bear attack?" There's 4 million people in that park. We weren't worried about the bears. We're worried about people being dumb. Because like you think about it, if 1% of the population is crazy, 4 million people come to the park. That's 40,000 crazy people in the summer. So
that is a good way to
think
about it.
That was awesome. I loved it. I made zero money. They paid me federal minimum wage, and they paid for my room and board. But so I thought, oh, maybe stay out there. COVID kind of sent me home. Came home, started working here part-time.
Always tennis? You didn't, like a lot of the WAC people started as front desk or cleaning, and then they move up, and you came in as a tennis guy, right?
Very, very part-time. Talked to Mano, one of my good friends, Augie Badura, and I just took a part-time job here because we were both home. I played tennis at Oconomowoc High School. So I hit here and was an assistant way back when, like 2010. So I was like a shit little teenager that assisted Andy Badura with his rep and Jeff with his red ball classes.
Really?
Yeah. So, and that was, we got a free membership here, and that was like my main, I just wanted court time.
Yeah.
Because it was like here or Olympia, and Olympia didn't have heat and the roof leaked.
The roof was,
yeah.
I heard.
So it was. So I came here, and then met Tim. I was working at Trek, the bike company, through COVID, and they have their own like medical clinic. So I was working as like a patient care provider there. So they have a medical clinic just for their employees. So I was drawing blood, but mostly in like checking people in for
drawing blood and smashing forehands.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the Disney movie.
Yeah. Yeah, Disney's really gonna
it's
fly
about
for
it's about an EMT.
Yeah,
who also is a professional tennis player.
Right.
And after each match, he does the drug testing for all the his
players.
opponents.
Yeah, but not him. And he's actually on.
He's the one
He's
who's
on
jacked
Trenbolone.
up. Yeah.
And we get John Cena.
We
get John Cena to play me.
We've got it. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
That fits. We've got a movie, dude.
Yeah.
I feel good about it.
Called Bob Iger. Yeah. But
his friend Walt Disney.
Yeah. But I think I did like, we did the math one time, and while I was working there, I did like 30,000 COVID tests. So I was a nose swabber. I was like a full-time nose swabber during COVID.
Dang.
And I kind of lost my mind, and I was like starting to think about it, and I was talking to Tim about like, and Tim and I met and became friends through that. Like, it was probably a year or two when I was doing that part-time. Tim and I, like, I was doing the math. We were talking about maybe me moving full-time or getting more serious about tennis coaching. And then I took the Kettle Moraine boys coaching position. And then soon after that, took the assistant coaching position for the Arrowhead girls.
Were you doing both at the same time?
I was doing both at the same time. I was double dipping.
So you're coaching KM
boys,
head coach boys,
and then
assistant Arrowhead.
Yeah, which like I'm like, I don't know how people would view that, because like, but it's two different genders,
two different teams, and one's the head. I think if you were the head coach at both, that might be some challenges,
right?
Being an assistant,
and I basically viewed it as, if anybody came up to me like, we're not coaching the Williams sisters. I just want kids in South Central Wisconsin to have an enjoyable experience playing tennis, because so I kind of use that argument whenever anybody would like, oh, well, you're a trader. And I went to Oconomowoc High School, so I'm a 3 times trader, if you really think about it. So yeah, then I quit Trek and then started here full time.
Dang.
And
that's a good story.
Yeah.
One of the reasons I do this and like to have people on is to hear that. Like when I had Tim on, I didn't know him that well.
Yeah.
I had no idea his background. I had Shannon on. Zero idea of that stuff.
Yeah.
I didn't know all that. I think you're Forrest Gump.
Yeah.
I say that in a complimentary way.
Yeah.
You've done all kinds of stuff and been all over the place. What great experiences to have.
Yeah.
And I've talked before and had guests on that. I just think it's cool. You're right. People generally don't do what we do. They're not in elementary school thinking, I want to teach at a club or coach high school. They might be thinking they want to be a pro athlete. I went to school, started out in pre-law.
Yeah.
Realized I didn't want to be in school that long, and I was too dumb.
Right.
Then I switched to education because I like to teach.
Are you saying lawyers are smarter than teachers?
Yes. I guess I just did. Delete. Cut. Teachers, you're great. You're my favorite.
Yeah, my sister's a teacher.
Really? Yeah, I got through student teaching at Indiana University and realized I didn't like children.
Sure. That isn't a big part of education.
I had been teaching private lessons on my own in my small town, and then I was at IU's campus. I was working part-time at the tennis center. And my boss at the time says, listen, if you really want out of the teaching, I'll hire you full-time as soon as you graduate as an assistant pro. Back then, everybody was just an assistant pro. There were no. Sure. He was the boss.
Right.
All of us were assistants in different levels, but we were all called the same. And I'm like, all right. He told me what he was going to pay me. I'm like, well, that's better than first year going to teach elementary school.
Right.
So I stayed on campus and went full time, and then there to North Carolina for a big job, and then back to Indiana for my first boss job, and then Wisconsin. And I tell everybody, tennis has taken me lots of cool places. Places I wouldn't have gone probably if I had chosen something else. And it's the only thing I'm slightly good at.
Right.
I tell people I have one skill. I can hit a tennis ball so it bounces and hits your strings.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah. Right down the middle of the court.
That's it. And pray you get it back and you feel like I just told you something.
Right.
What do you find most difficult about working in a club? I guess more from a coaching standpoint, not necessarily behind the scenes, but day-to-day coaching. What do you struggle with? What bothers you?
Yeah.
Is there anything?
The one thing I always remind myself too is like, coming from a world of medical emergencies, nothing here is bad. Nothing like,
I agree, dude.
If you respond to one motorcycle accident and you're like, oh, every other job in the world is small beans, you know? So I think the one thing I struggle with is people treating their tennis lessons like there's a motorcycle crash going on, like a huge pile up. People, I like that people are passionate about the sport and coming to hit, but when you're like freaking out about the schedule or like how well your kid's playing in a tournament, the missing perspective that some people have, I think, bothers me the most. Where it's like,
I'm with you.
There's expectations for sure of our job, but where like you're paying us money, you want to get better, you want your kid to get better, but if they lose one match and they're 14, it's not the end of the world, you know.
I think that is, it's always going to be at the top of what we do, is getting people to understand that in the big picture, you're going to leave this lesson or drill or group or league match, and you're going to go home and you're going to see your family and your kids and your job, and none of those people care what just happened. So why are you flipping out? Why are you behaving poorly? Why are you upset you missed a couple of balls? I've had groups where I'll just tell them, listen, it's noon on a Tuesday and you're playing tennis at an indoor tennis club taking a lesson. There could be far worse things happening in your life. Don't make this such a big freaking deal. But it's hard for people. Competition makes people do dumb things. They behave poorly.
There's a lot of ego involved, where like I see it a lot. I have some clients like 50, 60 years old, and they'll play a match, a league match, and they'll be like up in arms, or like their world's ending because they lost their league doubles match 2-2 because their doubles partner wasn't moving, or they just didn't serve well enough. They always have something, and like the ego attached with that is really hard to detach yourself from, because like you do care about what happens, but it's a good lesson. Like overall, it's a good lesson in humility, and I think a lot of us sometimes, the later we go, don't have those lessons anymore. You know, like
I agree.
And where like you just get stuck in your same rut, and you're like, yeah, I go to work and I go play my tennis match, and I visit with my family and I eat crab legs for Thanksgiving. And if like the one thing that is uncontrollable, which is your tennis match, goes poorly, but you've attached so much of your self-worth to it, it's like really hard not to treat that as a huge deal. But you just have to like put it back into perspective, take 2 steps back, like, oh my God, it's South Central Wisconsin 3-5 USTA tennis. Like,
I've told people on the court, listen, you're wound up and you're angry and you're hooting and hollering. Nobody in the world cares about it from you. There's not a human in the world that cares that it's Wednesday afternoon at 3 o'clock. And you just dumped a forehand in your league match. Nobody cares. Why are you acting? Why are you getting so wound up Like, keep it in perspective.
Right.
In an hour, you're going to go home and see your family, pick up your kids, do whatever you do.
Yeah.
And no one there has any idea about this. So why you make it? I get in that moment it can be important, and it should be to us too, because we want to get them through those things. But
right.
I think everybody would be significantly better player if they could just have a little bit of moments of perspective during those situations.
That's a big thing I talk about. Well, when I go out to coach my high school girls when they're playing, they'll get like really wrapped up, really emotionally involved, and I'll go out and I'll be like, how much money do you win at the end of this match? If you win this match, how much money do you win? And they're like $0. I'm like, exactly. Like, have a little more fun. Usually when you do, you loosen up. That's obviously easier said than done. And I've gotten the trump card of like, one time I'm like, I went out to a girl, a girl plays for me, and said like, who's holding your family captive? Like, this isn't life or death. And I said, this isn't life or death. Like, you gotta loosen up. You're like, I can see it in the way she's breathing. Like, her throat's tight, her chest, like her upper chest is really tight. And I'm like, you gotta loosen up. And she turns to me and she goes, this is life or death for me. And I'm like, honestly, like, fair enough. Right. Fair enough. Like, it could be.
There's a little value to that.
Yeah.
Because you know now that she's
serious about it. Which I love her all the more for it. But she hit me with the trump card where she's like, no,
I thought
Jack.
You were going to say her response was, my parents were kidnapped. This is a hostage situation, dude. If I don't win this, they all die.
Yeah. East appears. The high school tennis coaches kidnapped my parents.
That would have been a great one. But, all right. That's a great story, dude. We're almost done. Worst loss you've ever suffered as a player or a coach that haunts you? Used to haunt you, still does. I've got a couple that still to this day, I'm almost 50, and I've got a high school match that destroys me. I still remember everything about it. Do you have a match or something you've even coached?
Yeah, well, I've had matches a singular match that sticks in my head. Playing Sun Prairie. I was playing 1-dubs my senior year. Split sets. We were playing really well. We were up 9-5 in the 10-point tiebreak.
Kind of know how this is going to end.
Got a sitter forehand, like service line. I didn't get my racket all the way over it. Put it into the fence. Didn't even touch the ground. Just straight into the fence. Just absolutely crushed it. Which at least I swung, but launched it way long. 9-6. We lost the next 5 points in a row. Lost 9-11 in the
was
breaker.
This a tournament into the season, or was this a regular season or conference match?
This was
it weighted better?
It was a tournament in Madison that we went out to. But Sun Prairie was good that year, and we're like, we win this match, we'll get a seed at state.
Yeah,
we'll be.
Can you still picture the path of the ball, like the sound of it hitting the fence? I
remember it hitting too high on my strings, on my forehand, and not getting over the ball and the racket turning under it. I remember that feeling. I remember how warm it was. I remember where I went to go sit down and say horrible things about myself. And I was 17, and that was 11 years ago.
Yeah.
And I remember everything. And then I've had a few matches that I've coached where I was no help and I watched somebody implode. And it was a horrible feeling to me. You don't know what to go out there and say.
Just couldn't stop
it. And it's a car crash and you're just watching it in slow motion. And it's and it's visceral. And it was these two girls senior year. And it was there's just nothing you can do.
I almost think that situation is even harder because it's other people and their experience, and you've already had your experience.
Correct.
And now you're a part of theirs, and you just
correct.
It's knowing that this dude's going to hit this down the line. I know it's coming, and he's still going to beat me.
Yeah,
and I can't do anything about it.
The amount of times I've wished it was while I'm coaching, I wished I could go out and somehow play, or this to be happening to me, so I have something a physical way of affecting the outcome.
Yeah.
But like watching it happen as a spectator is way worse than it happening to you. It's like, for me at least.
I agree. There's zero control.
Right.
But going back to your moment, that forehand.
Yeah.
Do you have a small bit of pride that you at least took a full blast? Why you didn't back off and tap it over and they smoked you?
Right.
Like, I think there's a little pride in that at least you went for the big moment and it didn't work out.
But it was definitely like, looking back at it now and in a coaching perspective, I just got way too excited. Didn't move my feet and like reached for it and swung really hard.
Yeah.
But I do appreciate at least I swung hard. But
because if you hadn't, let's say you back off and you push it in.
Scott, they were both at the baseline. If I backed off, pushed it in, it would have been.
You still win?
Easily.
Easily. God. I'm trying to find some hope for you.
No, they weren't both back at the baseline. There was one up, one back, and it like.
So you didn't need what you.
It was the guy at the. It was at the guy at the baseline's head level, and he watched it pass him like a bird flying by. And like I could have. There's so many things I could have moved my feet more. I could have split them. I could have dropped in front of me.
You're never gonna forget this.
No,
dude.
ever.
Seriously,
it's 11 years.
Far older than you. And
it's 11 years.
I remember every single thing about mine too.
I've heard you shank. You tell
the
the story.
serve.
Your shank.
Yeah, I can hear it. I can see it. I knew while it's in the air and I mishit it that I had just lost the state championship.
Yeah.
Like before that ball got out of the rafters and banging around the lights.
Yeah.
I knew it was over.
But it was 5-5, wasn't it? I've heard you tell the story.
I was serving, 5-ball got broken.
Yeah. Okay,
and I did it at out. I could have double faulted at any other freaking moment.
You know the difference between us and like actual good athletes?
Should we get a scroll out?
Who have that? Who have that? They don't know, like good competitors who have that dog.
Yeah.
That dog in them. You got broken at 5-5 to be 5-6. I missed match point at 9-5. Both of us had more opportunities, but we let that affect us so much where we weren't like, whatever, shake that one off. But
that's true.
Like where we're right back at it.
And that moment at my age, understanding the quality of the server that's about to come at us. Like we were in those where I just knew it sunk me that, and my partner knew it. And we tried, it didn't mean we didn't try, but the dude's bombing him and we probably hadn't broken him the entire match. And I knew that was coming, so it made it more important.
Here's me playing devil's advocate.
You're not allowed. It's a podcast rule that it I know we could have returned better.
Yeah, as a high school coach right now, I'd be like, what? Focus up.
Right, but in your
in my own
other mind, not your coaching,
Yeah,
this is gonna
it got harder.
Bad.
It got harder. It didn't make it impossible.
It was impossible because we didn't do it. We lost, and I cried like a freaking baby.
You're saying every possibility was
basically if you get broken at 5-all in the third, no one's ever broken back 100% in the history of the world. It's never happened. I was just one of billions.
Yeah, I mean, more than not, it's gone that way. But like you go out to Carlos Alcaraz and you say you just got broken 5-all in the fifth.
He's gonna be like,
well, I just returned better.
Let's go.
Yeah,
I get it. But that is why I will never be compared to Carlos Alcaraz. All right, almost done. I got a couple more.
All right.
There's tons of stuff. We could talk forever, honestly, about all this. But do you think you could dunk a basketball if you had a full year of personal training with a trainer specifically to get you to dunk a basketball?
I've tried. Probably
shocking.
Probably not. Yeah.
You don't think a year. Let's say you get one of our trainers. You get Eric or Mike or Kayla or any of the good Alex.
Yeah.
Do you think you say, dude, you got 1 year, I need to be able to dunk? Is there
do
we have that in us?
I'm 5'11" and change.
You and I are about the same.
Yeah.
I'm 5'11".
Maybe.
I just feel like it's a lot of calf work.
Yeah. I mean, there's people do it. They like train plyometrics to be able to have that bounce. But I think there's a natural bounce that you need that I don't half.
Me too. All right, what about which would be easier, dunking a basketball or hitting a home run in a Major League Baseball stadium? You get hitting coaches and training. Which one do you do first? I'm just curious. These things are in my head because I've never dunked a ball and I've never hit a homer, and I want to someday in my life.
Do you play like slow pitch or
never played? Never played baseball. My kid played, but I want to hit. I want the feeling of hitting a homer.
I will say, well, I've played slow pitch and hit homers there before. It is really hard.
I'm talking.
It's not the same. It's
Miller
not the
Park.
same. I'm not comparing this. I'm not comparing this at all. I don't. I'm picking. We're in a hand-eye coordination sport, and that's our whole job.
Yeah.
I'm picking a home run.
This is closer to the move we're used to doing.
Yeah, the swing's totally different, but just the general
hitting a moving object.
Yeah, is this a home run derby where somebody's just throwing me 70-mile-an-hour?
Yeah, this is not major league pitching.
Okay, then yeah,
it's not underhanded. It's
but it's like a 60-mile, 70-mile-an-hour fastball down the pipe.
Yeah,
that's then home run.
You think you can do it
all day?
More before dunking.
Yeah.
Which one do you get hurt first during the training?
Oh,
is that swinging a bat that hard?
Yeah,
I'm gonna break a hip.
Yeah.
But man, your knees and feet and calves and
my knee would explode. And either one.
Do you want to here? Basically, I asked the question because I'm putting out a challenge.
Yeah.
We each pick one. Whoever accomplishes it first wins. Which one do you want?
Well, how do I get into a major league ballpark?
That's just details.
Okay.
Walt Disney's going to get his best. He gets into
Walt Disney's frozen body.
He gets into anywhere. Let's say all that stuff can happen. I've got a deal with the Brewers, Miller Park, or we can go to Fiserv where the Bucks play.
I think if it's truly just a home run derby, you're throwing a ball, and I'm not facing an MLB pitcher, I think I could hit a home run in a month.
Shut up.
I think I could.
All right.
I think I could.
That's going to be the title of the podcast.
All right.
Jack hit a home run in a month.
I think, but it would take me, but I'm going there 6 hours a day.
All right. We need to take the tennis staff to the batting cages just to see who's got some skill. That'd be kind of fun.
I'm down. It does rip up your hands though.
Yeah, I agree. I think probably a home run. Plus, I think there's a little bit of slight luck involved if you get a hold of one in the right part of the bat, the right speed. Where dunking, there's no luck. You have to get to a certain height.
Yeah.
Right.
And then you have to be strong and explosive, and that takes longer than
a bat. Even major league pitchers hit home runs every once in a while when they use the bat, because they connected correctly.
The professional athletes that have done it their entire life.
All right, let's do this.
Get lucky.
We start training today. First one of us to hit a major league home run wins. What are we betting?
$5 million.
$5 million. We might as well, because we're never getting in the stadium. You heard it, folks. $5 million. Jack and I hitting a home run. All right. I have this thing since I was a kid, probably if I was the president.
Yeah.
When I see things in the world that I don't like, dumb things.
Yeah.
So one of mine has always been I just want straight roads, no curves. All roads are straight. Think about it. You know how much we'd save on gas, transportation costs, everything's just, if I want it from here to my house, straight line. I'm there in half the time.
Right.
Why do we need to have curves?
Yeah.
Right. We just destroy everything in our path, and it's just a straight line everywhere.
Yeah.
Okay. I also want to ban reply all.
Okay.
If someone replies all to an email, they're immediately sent off to the reply all island, never to be seen again.
Yep.
Dumb stuff like that.
Okay.
If you have anything in your life, you become president tomorrow.
Okay.
That you put into play.
LED headlights in cars. I want gone.
Gone.
I like
too bright.
Way too bright. I have astigmatism in my eyes, and at night, if a lifted Chevy drives up behind me and he got his lift kit yesterday and hasn't lowered his LED headlights, I seriously think about running them off of the road.
They
and
are
going
right.
to prison. And
some
going
of
to
those
prison.
are really.
That's one, and then meetings that could have been emails. That's 2, or conference or Zoom calls. That's 3, and it's always there's always you know when you're on a conference call or a Zoom call and like you're about to wrap it up and it's been the worst 2.5 hours of your life, and all of it could have been a 3-paragraph email.
Yeah.
And that one guy who hasn't said anything is like hasn't said anything, and he's like just starting to wake up, and he's like, oh yeah, just to piggyback off what Bill said earlier, I want to commit war crimes when that happens. To you. And it's like, and it's already been 2 hours, and he hasn't said a thing, and he starts freaking out in his little corporate mind, where he's like, "What? But if I don't talk, my job's gone." Yeah. That
was good, Jack. You reeled off 3 like that, dude.
Oh, I if you gave me 5 minutes, I could have 17 more.
I got tons of them.
Yeah.
I always keep a list of when I'm elected president. Because I'm gonna run.
Well, yeah, the straight roads could just be solved with public transportation. You could be.
Oh, I don't want to ride public transportation.
Oh, yeah.
That's where the murders are.
Yeah, you're too good for public transportation.
Dude, that's scary.
What do you mean?
Just picture it.
Yeah,
all right, I drove to California in June.
Okay.
If I could have gone perfectly straight from my house to California, I bet it takes 10 hours off that trip. No, I had to go around mountains and over hills and through the forests.
Should just blow up the Tetons, huh?
We can build more caves.
Just right through Jackson, Wyoming.
If your house is at point A, you want to come to my house, point B, and in the middle is an apartment complex.
Eminent domain.
Blow that baby up. We don't even ask. There could be people in it. It's just they better hear the bulldozers and the dynamite.
Are these all at 90-degree angles though? Is it all north, south, east, west?
No, it's a whole system over, like stacked on top of each other.
Oh, okay. There you go. Yeah.
Just kick it around.
I'll think about it.
It would save so much gas. We wouldn't have to buy cars as much because less wear and tear. You get places quicker. You could work longer and have a better productive society. Our economy would immediately shoot up.
Talking like a true American now. I can work longer.
This is my platform. All right, so I know we talked about it maybe yesterday about one of your goals is to become a college tennis coach.
Yeah.
So if there's anybody listening on this that has connections for Jack, hook us
up.
You
want to pay me a livable wage?
That'd
be fantastic.
To be a college tennis coach.
Yeah.
You got anything else, Jack? I think we covered. I mean, I know we've talked about a lot of stuff that we can't talk about here. Like, was it gerbils versus
mice?
Mice.
Yeah.
Right.
You pick 2 field mice over a gerbil.
Yeah, 2 versus 1. It's math. Dude.
No, it's math.
Dude, you were going to be an engineer. You should know 2 is better than 1.
Body weight.
All right, you've got 2 cookies.
2 cookies. And 1
or cookie. 1 cookie. And someone says, which would you want?
No,
are you going to take the 1 cookie?
You're like saying, oh, these like 2 Chips Ahoy cookies versus this one Famous Amos. The gerbil is way too aggressive.
Wait, is the gerbil Famous Amos?
Yeah. You're 2 like tiny little like travel sized Chips Ahoy cookies.
We just named the gerbil finally.
Famous Amos.
We need to tell the whole staff that because there are a lot of people in this conversation. We named the gerbil.
Yeah, and everybody's like, oh, 2 field mice. Have never seen literally any wild animal kill another one. It's always who's more aggressive. And I tell this translates directly into tennis or street fights. If you come out
similar
crazy,
things.
Yeah, if you come out crazy or like a heavyweight, you are always going to win that fight. If you're the angrier one, maybe this doesn't apply to tennis.
In tennis?
No, this is more street
you
fighting.
might win the first set and you'll run out of gas.
Yeah. Maybe not tennis, but street fights for sure. If you're the madder one of anybody and you got like 50 pounds on somebody, you're going to win that fight. And that is the gerbil. He's angrier and he's got a lot of weight behind him where the field mice do not.
I'm so pumped we got around to this.
Yeah.
That was the goal.
Yeah.
Right. It's kind of like I was talking to Hartwick yesterday.
Yeah.
When you go to prison, first thing you're supposed to do is kill somebody.
You do not kill somebody.
Yeah, you do. You get respect. And then you become the leader. That every prison movie, you go in, you got to kill somebody right away. And that's how you get respect.
You're going to go.
You ever watch the prison movie?
You're going to go to prison on like a public urination charges for 3 months and you're like, well, I gotta kill someone. You're in there for like 48 hours.
I would not last long in prison, so I need immediately be like the prison boss.
Yeah,
and that's it.
I'd pay money to see you try to become a prison boss.
I would not last.
No, no. Oh.
It's why this is why I like working here.
Yeah,
because these conversations aren't just I've had this conversation with other people in this building.
Yeah.
Well, cool. I think that's it. So if you're listening to this, you can also follow this stuff on my Facebook, social media, TikTok, Instagram. I did just started Instagram just for this podcast. It's going to be specific to videos and things just about like our conversation. So it won't be general. My other one's kind of general stuff. Jack, do you want them to follow you anywhere? Do you put any tennis stuff out? Is that important to you? You don't have to.
I do not. I keep my social media private because I'm a public school employee, which
good idea.
I tried to. You can follow the High Performance Academy Instagram page.
Is that what it is? Is it HP Academy?
It's
HP
like H
Tennis.
Oh, I should have looked this up. I think
it's
Lake Country
TimHartwick.com.
It's at Tim Hartwick. Everybody follow at Tim Hartwick.
Follow Tim.
Tim Hartwick.
We need followers.
Let me look this up.
It's HP something.
Lake Country HP Tennis.
Lake Country HP Tennis. If you want to follow some of the stuff Jack does, I know lately I saw you guys actually put some pictures and some
we're gonna hopefully post some videos of some point play of and HP is our higher end of our junior program. So,
why are you teaching it?
I teach.
I mean, based on your forehand, you hit to the fence. You should probably be in the LP, the low performance.
No, I should go back to orange ball. But it's Tim Hartwick's love child, and then I coach quite a few classes with Tim and with other coaches here. It's a great program. If you have a little junior that can smoke some forehands into the tarp, send them this way.
All right, and what else? Oh, I always mentioned coming up, we do have one thing at the WAC for members and non-members, the Babolat Demo Day. I've mentioned a couple times. It's next Friday, December 8th. I think it's $30 or $35. You get a couple hours of tennis and can use all the new Babolat rackets. So if you want to do that, just call the club. Find us everywhere. If you have any exciting questions for Jack, just shoot me an email or a text, and I'll pass them on. Jack, it was awesome. Hope you enjoyed it.
Yeah, thanks for having me on.
People of the world, we're leaving. You don't have anything else, right?
No.
No final words?
No.
I don't have any either. I have no good smart words.
No.
All right, everybody. We'll talk to you later. Peace out.